Hi, this is Dan Sullivan. I'd like to welcome you to the Multiplier Mindset Podcast. Right from the beginning of my coaching career in 1974, I was aware that one of the traps that had to be overcome for entrepreneurs to move forward in their lives is to get out of situations in their mind where they were trapped in the past. Could it be a limitation that they had of themselves that they picked up very early in life? It could be memories they have that they haven't made sense of, and they're held back by the memory of failures that they've had, or very, very uncomfortable emotional situations or big mistakes that they've made. And they get trapped by this. And whenever something new comes up, there's an initial excitement, but then their memory of the unfortunate negative past thing stops them from going forward. We all know people personally in our lives where that's true. There are some ways in which people get stopped by a particular situation, a particular relationship, a particular experience. I've always known this, but more and more, probably since the technological age has just exploded around us with all the possibilities of what could be in the future of much bigger and better results using new kinds of technology, I'm noticing just as much people getting trapped in the future, that they're having a hard time, just like the people trapped in the past, the people trapped in the future are having a hard time actually operating in the present. And you can tell when you're talking to them because they're only giving you half their attention, and their mind wanders and they're distracted. Oftentimes this involves them looking at a cell phone, or they switch stories. They just can't stay with a line of thought for more than a minute, and then they're on to something else. So the real skill in life, both in your individual life, personal life, but also in every area of your business life, is just to be where you are, and just to be fully where you are, and to give full attention to whoever you're with or to whatever you're working on. And I realize that this requires real intellectual muscle, it requires psychological muscle, it requires emotional muscle to do this, because there's a pull backwards into the past and a pull forwards into the future. This isn't reality. This is just an idea in your mind. We were having a conversation about this in one of my workshops, and I said, well, here's a striking realization that I had one day. I said, there's never been a human being who ever existed on the planet who ever spent even a moment in the past or will ever spend a moment in the future. When you get to that point in the future that you're thinking is going to be so glorious, you're actually going to be in the present when that happens. That thing that happened in the past that's really painful, it happened when you were present years ago. It seems like when you first hear it, well, it's kind of like a trivial consideration, but the whole point is, how much time do you spend trapped by thoughts about your past or trapped about thoughts about your future? I would say that not only my success has increased as I've learned to just live my life day by day in the present that's given to me for that day, but also my satisfaction in life, because there is no possible satisfaction being trapped in the past, and there's no satisfaction from being trapped in the future, because these are just thoughts in your mind. You're not actually trapped by the future. You're trapped in a thought about the future. You're trapped in a thought about the past. So a lot of what we do in Strategic Coach with our different thinking processes, one of my favorites is the moving future that we use as the kickoff for every one of our 10 times ambition workshops, and also the new Game Changer workshop, which starts in 2018. I always start them off and say, okay, we're just going to spend 2 minutes looking at the past 90 days, and I want you to write down everything that's a winning achievement from the last 90 days. And they write down anywhere from 5 to 10 things. We only give them 2 minutes to do it. And they say, okay, now let's come to the present and let's see what's really working in the present, what's making progress in the present, and write those down. And then another 2 minutes goes by, so we've put 4 minutes in, 2 minutes for the past, 2 minutes for the present, and then 2 minutes into the future, and they write down everything that they're thinking about for the next 90 days, for the next year. And I said, just write all those down. And so at the end of 6 minutes of just directing their thinking to past, present, and future, all of a sudden you can feel them settle in. Everybody in the room settles in. And I say, now, you've thought about it. You've had a conversation with yourself. And then I have them break out into small groups with 2 or 3 partners, and they trade what the information is, the key information that they've written down about their past, present, and future. And all of a sudden, they're present. And that's where the learning happens. I've just created a possibility for their attention and for their emotions and their commitment and their interest just to be in the present, and that goes right through till 5 o'clock. Often when entrepreneurs get back to their friends and family and to other people, they say, well, what actually happens in Strategic Coach? The simplest answer I have, you get to spend 8 hours in the present, where between workshops, you spend a lot of time being trapped in past thoughts or being trapped in future thoughts, but in the Strategic Coach, you get to spend the whole day in the present. The entrepreneurs get to spend a whole day with other entrepreneurs where they're in the present and everybody else is in the present. And amazing discussions happen when people can actually be in the present. Great creative new ideas are created, and great decisions and plans are put down on paper in a very short period of time. It's just a day. But that whole experience of that one day of being in the present can propel them into a much more energetic next quarter than they've had in the past quarter. So the simplest way is write down a list of what you're proud of for the past quarter. Write down what's really giving you a lot of energy in the present and what's giving you a lot of excitement about the future. Write that down, and that sort of grounds you. It sort of centers you where you are, and now you can do really, really great thinking. Now you can do really good communication, decision making, and planning in that space that you've given yourself of actually being in the present.